When Danny Martinez pulled down the old wallpaper in his childhood bedroom, he expected to find mold, maybe some water damage. What he didn't expect was the letter. It had been shoved behind the baseboard, yellowed with age, the envelope addressed in handwriting that made his heart stop. To Danny, if you ever come back, Sarah's handwriting. Sarah, who he hadn't seen in 43 years. Sarah, who he'd walked away from on a hot July night in 1982, telling himself he was doing the right thing. Sarah, who'd made him promise to forget her. Danny's hands shook as he held the envelope. It had never been opened, never been sent. Just hidden there, waiting all these years. But what Danny didn't know, what he couldn't possibly know as he stood in that dusty room with his 65-year-old heart pounding like he was 18 again, was that opening this letter would unravel everything he thought he knew about the biggest mistake of his life. And the truth? The truth was going to break him. Danny hadn't planned on coming back to his hometown. Hell, he'd spent the last 4 decades avoiding it. But when his mom passed away last month, there was no getting around it. Someone had to deal with the house, and he was the only one left. The place looked smaller than he remembered. Isn't that always the way? The house that had seemed so big when you were a kid turns out to be just another rundown Cape Cod with peeling paint and a sagging porch. He'd been putting off cleaning out his old bedroom. Too many memories packed into that small space. Too many ghosts. But the realtor was coming next week, and Danny needed to get his act together. So here he was, on a Saturday morning, pulling down wallpaper that probably had asbestos in it, trying not to think about Sarah Cooper. Except that was impossible, because this was the room where they'd spent hours together. Where she'd sneak in through the window on summer nights when his parents were asleep. Where they'd talk about everything and nothing, making plans for a future that never came. Danny was 65 now. Divorced twice, no kids, retired from the post office 3 years ago. Living in a condo in Phoenix that felt more like a waiting room than a home. His hair had gone gray, his knees complained when he climbed stairs, and most days he felt like he was just killing time until the clock ran out. But standing in this room, holding Sarah's letter, he felt 18 again. Felt that old ache in his chest, the one that had never really gone away no matter how hard he tried to bury it. The envelope wasn't sealed. He could just open it. Read whatever she'd written 43 years ago. His phone buzzed. His buddy, Rick, checking in, how's it going? Found any treasure, Danny stared at the letter. You have no idea, he typed back. He sat down on the floor, his back against the wall, and carefully opened the envelope. The letter was dated August 15, 1982. 2 weeks after he'd left. Danny, I don't know if you'll ever read this. You're probably long gone by now, off living your big life in California like you always wanted. But I had to write it anyway, had to get it out before it eats me alive, you left without saying goodbye. I know, I told you to go, told you not to look back. But I didn't think you'd actually do it. I thought maybe you'd fight for us, for me. Guess I was wrong, there's something you need to know. Something I should have told you that night, but I was scared and stupid and I thought I was doing the right thing, Danny's hands trembled. He had to stop reading, take a breath. What was she about to tell him? I'm pregnant, Danny. Have been for 2 months. And before you do the math and start freaking out, yes, it's yours. It's always been you, the letter fell from his hands. No. No, That couldn't be right. Sarah had been pregnant? They'd had a, I know what you're thinking. Why didn't I tell you? Why did I push you away when you wanted to stay, because you had a scholarship, Danny? A full ride to UCLA. A chance to get out of this dead-end town and actually make something of yourself. And I wasn't going to be the reason you gave that up, My mom was 17 when she had me. 17, knocked up, and trapped in a marriage that made her miserable until the day my dad finally left. I saw what that did to her, how she looked at me sometimes like I was the anchor that drowned all her dreams, I couldn't do that to you. Couldn't watch you resent me, resent our baby, resent the life you gave up. So I lied. I told you I didn't love you anymore, that we were just kids playing pretend, that you should go to California and forget all about Sarah Cooper, and you did. You actually did, Danny couldn't breathe. The room was spinning, his vision blurring with tears he hadn't cried in decades. They'd had a child. He had a child. Somewhere out there, he had a son or daughter who was 43 years old, who'd grown up without him, who probably didn't even know his name. I'm keeping the baby. I'm scared out of my mind, but I'm keeping it. My Aunt Clara said I can stay with her in Ohio until I have it, figure things out. Get my GED, maybe go to community college eventually, I don't know what I'm going to tell our kid about you. The truth? That their dad was a good guy who I pushed away because I loved him too much to ruin his life? That sounds like a line from a bad movie, but it's the truth, Danny. I loved you so much that I let you go. And I hate myself for it. I hate that I'm 18 years old and I already know what it feels like to have your heart ripped out of your chest, If you ever come back, if you ever read this, just know that I never stopped loving you. Not for a single day. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, even if you never knew it, I hope California is everything you dreamed it would be. I hope you become somebody, do big things, live the kind of life this little town could never give you, and I hope, God, I hope that somewhere, someday, you find the kind of happiness we could have had together. Always yours, Sarah P.S. It's a girl. I can just feel it. And I'm going to name her something beautiful, something that reminds me of you. Maybe Daniela. Danny, but softer. Is that stupid? Probably. But I don't care, Danny sat on that floor for an hour, maybe more, holding the letter and sobbing like he hadn't sobbed since his father's funeral. A daughter. He had a daughter named Daniela. And Sarah. God, Sarah had loved him. Had pushed him away not because she didn't care, but because she cared too much. He'd spent 43 years thinking she'd stopped loving him. 43 years building a life on a foundation of lies and misunderstanding. What the hell had he done? Danny's first thought was to find her. Find Sarah, find their daughter, fix this somehow. But 43 years was a long time. Sarah could be anywhere. Could be married, could have other kids, could be. He couldn't even think it. He pulled out his phone with shaking hands and opened Facebook. He'd never been big on social media, thought it was kind of silly, honestly, but right now it felt like a lifeline. He typed in Sarah Cooper and got about 5,000 results. Added Ohio to narrow it down. Still too many. He tried Daniela Martinez. Then Daniela Cooper. Nothing that looked right. Danny stood up, paced the room, his mind racing. 43 years ago, Sarah had gone to Ohio to stay with her Aunt Clara. What was Clara's last name? He racked his brain, trying to remember conversations from decades ago. Thompson? Morrison? Something like that. His phone rang. Rick again. Hey man, you okay? You kind of left me hanging with that last text. Rick, Danny's voice cracked. I need help. I need to find someone. What's going on? Danny told him everything. About the letter, about Sarah, about the daughter he never knew existed. Rick listened without interrupting, which was unusual for him. Holy shit, Danny. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we can figure this out. We'll find her. Both of them. There's ways to do this now. People search websites, DNA tests, all kinds of stuff. When do you want to start? Now. Right now. Give me an hour. I'll be there. Rick showed up with his laptop and 2 cups of coffee. He was one of those guys who'd gotten into genealogy when he retired, spent hours tracking down family trees and lost relatives. If anyone could help Danny find Sarah, it was Rick. They started with the basics. Public records, phone books, old high school alumni databases. Rick pulled up the yearbook from 1982 online. Someone had digitized it and put it on one of those nostalgia websites. There was Sarah's senior photo. Still beautiful, even in that grainy old picture. Dark hair, bright smile, eyes that looked like they were hiding secrets. Danny had to look away. Okay, Rick said, all business now. So she went to Ohio in '82, pregnant, to stay with an aunt. What was the aunt's name? Clara something. I can't remember her last name. What town in Ohio? I don't know. She never told me specifically. Somewhere outside Cleveland, I think? Rick cracked his knuckles. All right, we'll start with birth records. If Daniela was born in late '82 or early '83, there should be a record. Ohio's got most of their vital statistics online now. They searched for hours. Every Daniela Cooper born in Ohio between November 1982 and March 1983. There were 7. Could be any of these, Rick said. Or none of them. She might have used a different last name or gotten adopted, or... Don't, Danny said. Don't tell me all the ways this could go wrong. Just, let's keep looking. They tracked down addresses for the 7 Danielas. 4 still lived in Ohio. 2 had moved to other states. 1 had no current address listed. Could be married, changed her name, Rick said. Or could be, dead. That's what Rick wasn't saying. Danny's daughter could be dead, and he'd never know. Let's check social media for all of them, Danny said. See if we can find any that look like they might be her. One by one, they searched. Most had private profiles or no social media presence at all. But the 4th one, Daniela Cooper Hayes from Columbus, had a public Instagram. Danny clicked on her profile picture and his breath caught. She looked like Sarah. Same dark hair, same smile. She had to be in her early 40s, had photos with 2 kids, teenagers, and a husband. Her bio said, *mom, teacher, coffee addict. Not necessarily in that order, *. That's her, Danny whispered. That has to be her. Rick squinted at the screen. She does kind of look like that yearbook photo of Sarah. But Danny, man, you can't just assume. It's her. I know it. He scrolled through her posts. Pictures of family dinners, her kids at soccer games, a dog named Biscuit. A normal life. A good life. A life he'd missed entirely. What do I do? Danny asked. Do I message her? Show up at her door? What the hell am I supposed to say? Hi, I'm your dad, the guy who knocked up your mom and then left town? First things first, Rick said. We need to confirm it's actually her. And we need to find Sarah. Maybe she's still in touch with Daniela. Danny nodded, trying to think straight. How do we confirm? DNA test. You can order them online, get the results in a few weeks. But someone's gotta agree to take the test with you. Danny stared at Daniela's smiling face on the screen. How do you ask someone to take a paternity test when they don't even know you exist? That night, Danny lay awake in a motel room. He couldn't stomach staying in his mom's house another night, staring at his phone. He drafted and deleted 50 messages to Daniela. Everything he wrote sounded insane or desperate or both. Hi, I think I might be your father, delete. Your mom and I dated in high school and I just found out, delete. This is going to sound crazy, but delete. At 2 a.m., his phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Danny Martinez? A woman's voice, unfamiliar. Yeah. Who's this? This is... God, I don't even know how to say this. This is Daniela. Daniela Cooper Hayes. Danny sat bolt upright, his heart pounding. How did you? My mom called me an hour ago. She's been following me online for years, apparently. Saw that you viewed my profile about 50 times today, recognized your name. Your mom. Sarah. Yeah. Sarah. Daniela's voice was tight, controlled. She told me everything. About you, about the letter, about. She trailed off. I just found the letter today, Danny said. I swear, I had no idea. She never told me, I never knew, I know. She explained. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about any of this. I'm 43 years old. I've lived my whole life thinking my dad was some deadbeat who wanted nothing to do with me. And now I find out it was all a lie? It wasn't a lie, exactly. Your mom was trying to protect you. Yeah, she said that too. But you know what? Nobody protected me. Nobody asked what I wanted. I grew up without a father because two teenagers decided they knew what was best for everyone. Danny closed his eyes. She was right. She had every right to be angry. I'm sorry, he said. I know that doesn't mean much, but I am. If I'd known what? What would you have done? I would have come back. I would have been there. Would you? Daniela's voice cracked. Or would you have resented us? Resented giving up your big California dreams? I don't know, Danny said honestly. I was 18. I was a stupid kid. But I'd like to think I would have tried. Would have been a father to you. There was a long silence. My mom wants to see you, Daniela finally said. She's in hospice. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. They're saying maybe a few weeks left. The world tilted. No. No, that can't, it is. And she says she needs to talk to you before she goes. She's at St. Mary's Hospice in Cleveland. If you want to come, I'll be there tomorrow. Danny? Daniela's voice softened just a fraction. She never stopped loving you. Just so you know. She never married, never even dated seriously. It was always you. The line went dead. The drive to Cleveland took 8 hours. Danny barely remembered any of it. His mind kept cycling through the same thoughts. Sarah was dying. He had a daughter who hated him. He'd wasted 43 years. St. Mary's Hospice was nicer than he expected. Looked more like a hotel than a hospital. A volunteer at the front desk directed him to room 247. Danny stood outside the door for 5 minutes, trying to gather the courage to knock. Finally, a nurse came by. You here for Sarah? Yeah. I'm an old friend. The nurse smiled kindly. She's been asking about you all morning. Go on in. Danny pushed open the door. Sarah was propped up in bed, surrounded by pillows. She'd lost weight, her face gaunt, her hair, still dark, though streaked with gray, pulled back in a loose ponytail. But when she saw him, her eyes lit up with that same spark he remembered from 43 years ago. Danny Martinez, she said, her voice weak but warm. Took you long enough? He crossed the room and sat in the chair beside her bed, not trusting his voice. You look good, she said. Little gray around the edges, but who isn't? Sarah, his voice broke. I'm so sorry. For leaving, for not being there, stop. She reached for his hand, her grip surprisingly strong. We don't have time for apologies. I've got maybe 2 weeks if I'm lucky, and I need to say some things. Danny nodded, tears streaming down his face. I read your letter. The one you left. I found yours. In the wall. Sarah smiled. I shoved it there the day after I wrote it. Couldn't bring myself to send it, couldn't bring myself to throw it away. Figured if you ever came back, maybe you'd find it. Stupid, huh? Not stupid. Nothing about this is stupid. Sarah shifted in bed, wincing slightly. Daniela's pretty pissed at both of us. Can't blame her. No, we can't. Sarah took a shaky breath. But there's more to the story. Things I never wrote in that letter because I was young and scared and stupid. Danny waited. My mom, your girlfriend's mom, she knew. About the pregnancy. And she went ballistic. Told me I was ruining my life, that I'd end up just like her, trapped and miserable. You should have called me. I would have, Danny, she threatened to call the cops. Said you'd rape me, that she'd press charges and make sure you never got to go to college. Danny felt like he'd been punched. What? I know. It was insane. But she was dead serious. And I was terrified. I was 18, pregnant, and my mom was threatening to destroy your life if I didn't end it. End it? The pregnancy. She wanted me to get an abortion. set up the appointment and everything. But I couldn't do it. That baby, our baby, was the only piece of you I had left. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. So I ran, packed a bag, called Aunt Clara, and left in the middle of the night. Didn't tell anyone where I was going. Didn't talk to my mom for 3 years after that. Danny was reeling. All this time, I thought you just didn't want me anymore. I wanted you so bad it killed me, Sarah whispered. But I was more scared of your life being ruined than I was of being alone. They sat in silence, holding hands, 43 years of misunderstanding and missed chances hanging between them. Daniela turned out amazing, Danny. She's a teacher, got 2 beautiful kids, married to a good man. She's everything I could have hoped for. She hates me. She's hurt. But she'll come around. I told her. I made her promise to give you a chance. To let you be a grandfather to her kids, at least. They're good kids. Tyler's 15, Emma's 13. They don't know about you yet. Does Daniela's husband know? Yeah. Mark's a good guy. Shocked, obviously, but supportive. He said he'd follow Daniela's lead on whether to let you into their lives. Danny squeezed her hand gently. How long have you known? About the cancer? 6 months. By the time they caught it, it had spread. Nothing they could do except make me comfortable. I should have been here. You're here now. That's what matters. Sarah drifted off to sleep around noon, exhausted from talking. A nurse came in to check on her, told Danny he could stay as long as he liked. He was in the cafeteria grabbing coffee when he saw her. Daniela. She was standing by the vending machines, looking lost. Hi, Danny said softly. She turned, and up close he could see Sarah in every feature. The shape of her eyes, the curve of her smile, though she wasn't smiling now. Hi. They stood there awkwardly for a moment. Can we talk? Danny asked. Maybe take a walk or something? Daniela hesitated, then nodded. They walked around the hospice grounds. There was a little garden area with benches and a fountain. Daniela sat down, and Danny sat beside her, careful to leave space between them. I don't know what you want me to say, Daniela started. Part of me is angry. Part of me is just sad. And part of me doesn't feel anything at all, because you're a stranger. I know. I used to make up stories about you when I was a kid. My mom never talked about you, so I'd imagine all these scenarios. Sometimes you were a soldier who died in a war. Sometimes you were a famous musician who didn't know I existed. Sometimes you were just a guy who didn't care. Danny's throat tightened. I would have cared. If I'd known, but you didn't know. And that's not entirely your fault, but it's not entirely not your fault either. You left, Danny. You went to California and built a whole life and never looked back. I thought she didn't want me. Did you try? Did you call? Right? Come back to visit? Danny opened his mouth and closed it. The truth was, he hadn't. After a few months of Sarah not returning his calls, not answering his letters, he'd told himself it was over and tried to move on. No, he said quietly. I didn't try hard enough. Daniela looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time. My mom loved you her whole life. Never dated, never remarried. It was always just me and her, and she was enough. She was more than enough. But I could see it sometimes, the sadness in her eyes when she thought I wasn't looking. I'm sorry. Stop saying that. Daniela wiped at her eyes. Sorry doesn't change anything. It doesn't give me back 43 years. It doesn't give my mom more time. Then what do you want from me? I don't know. Her voice rose, then dropped. I don't know what I want. My kids are asking why Grandma's in the hospital, and I'm supposed to tell them what? That they have another grandfather they've never met? That their whole family tree just got rewritten? Danny waited, letting her process. Mark thinks I should give you a chance, Daniela said. Says everyone deserves a second chance. But this isn't a second chance, Danny. It's a first chance. And I don't know if I have it in me. I understand. Do you? Do you really? Because from where I'm sitting, you just show up after 4 decades and expect what? A tearful reunion? Instant family? I don't expect anything, Danny said honestly. But I'm here. And I'm not going anywhere. If you need time, I'll give you time. If you never want to see me again after your mom, after Sarah's gone, I'll respect that. But I'm here, Daniela. For whatever that's worth. Daniela stood up abruptly. I need to think. I need to. I can't do this right now. She walked away, leaving Danny alone in the garden. Sarah deteriorated quickly over the next week. The doctors said it wouldn't be long now. Danny stayed at a hotel nearby, spending every day at her bedside, talking about everything and nothing. They reminisced about high school, about the summer they fell in love, about all the might-have-beens. Sarah told him about raising Daniela, about the struggles and triumphs, about watching their daughter grow into an incredible woman. I have no regrets, Sarah said on one of her clearer days. About keeping her, about raising her alone. She was worth every sleepless night, every sacrifice. I wish I could have been there. I know. But we can't change the past, Danny. We can only make peace with it. Daniela came by every evening, but she barely spoke to Danny. She'd sit on the other side of Sarah's bed, hold her mom's hand, and leave after an hour. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. On the 8th day, Sarah took a turn for the worse. The nurses said it could be hours now, maybe a day or 2 at most. Daniela called her husband, told him to bring the kids. I want them to say goodbye, she said, her voice breaking. Tyler and Emma arrived that evening. Nice kids, polite, clearly devastated about their grandmother. They sat with Sarah, told her about school and soccer and all the normal stuff teenagers talk about. Sarah smiled at them, her eyes heavy. You two are the best things that ever happened to me, she said, struggling for breath. After your mom, of course. We love you, Grandma, Emma said, tears streaming down her face. Love you too, baby girl. After the kids left, it was just Danny, Daniela, and Sarah. Sarah looked at Daniela. You promised me. Mom. You promised. Give him a chance. Please. Daniela's face crumpled. I don't know how. Yes, you do. You're the strongest person I know. You can do anything. Sarah reached for Danny's hand with one hand and Daniela's with the other, trying to bring them together. You two are my heart. Take care of each other. Mom, don't, Daniela sobbed. Don't leave me. Not leaving. Just going ahead. I'll save you a good seat. Sarah looked at Danny, her eyes filled with all the love they'd never gotten to share. Danny Martinez, you were the love of my life. You were mine too, Sarah. Always. She smiled, squeezed their hands one last time, and closed her eyes. She was gone 20 minutes later. The funeral was small. Sarah had outlived most of her family, and she'd kept to herself over the years. Danny sat in the back, not sure if he belonged, while Daniela and her family sat in the front. During the eulogy, Daniela talked about her mom's strength, her kindness, her unwavering love. And then she paused, looked back at Danny, and said something that surprised everyone. My mom loved someone once. A long time ago. And she never stopped loving him, even though life pulled them apart. She taught me that love isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. After the service, people filtered out. Danny stood by Sarah's casket, saying his own private goodbye. I'm sorry I wasn't there, Sarah. Sorry for all of it. But I promise, I'll try to do right by our daughter. If she'll let me. He felt a hand on his shoulder. Turned to see Daniela, her eyes red from crying. Tyler and Emma want to meet you, she said quietly. Properly, I mean. They have questions. About you, about their grandma, about all of it. Are you sure? No. But Mom was right. I promised her. And I keep my promises, even when they're hard. Danny nodded, not trusting his voice. This doesn't mean everything's okay, Daniela continued. It doesn't mean we're suddenly a family. But maybe we can try. For Mom. And for them. I'd like that. Mark's making dinner tonight. Pot roast. Mom's recipe. You should come. I'd be honored. Dinner at Daniela's house was awkward at first. Tyler and Emma kept sneaking glances at Danny, clearly curious but not sure what to say. Mark was friendly in that overly polite way people get when they're uncomfortable. But then Emma asked, what was Grandma like when she was young? And Danny started talking. About Sarah in high school, about how she'd been the smartest person in their class, how she could make anyone laugh, how she'd once convinced him to sneak into the community pool at midnight just because the stars looked better reflected in water. She sounds fun, Emma said. She was. She was incredible. Tyler spoke up. Why did you leave? The room went quiet. Tyler, Daniela started, but Danny held up a hand. It's okay. He deserves the truth. Danny looked at Tyler. I left because I was young and stupid and I thought I was doing the right thing. Your grandma told me she didn't love me anymore, and instead of fighting for her, I believed it. I gave up. And I regret it every single day. But you didn't know about Mom, Tyler said. Grandma didn't tell you. No, I didn't. But maybe if I'd tried harder, if I'd cared more, I would have found out. So it's on me too. Daniela was quiet, watching him. What happens now? Emma asked. Are you, like, our grandpa? Danny looked at Daniela. That's up to your mom. Everyone turned to Daniela. She took a deep breath. Yeah, she said finally. I guess he is. It took time. Months of awkward dinners, tentative conversations, slowly building something that resembled a relationship. Danny moved back to Ohio, rented an apartment in Columbus to be close to Daniela and the kids. He went to Tyler's basketball games, helped Emma with her science fair project, learned to text with embarrassing amounts of emojis because that's what the kids did. He wasn't trying to replace anyone, he knew he couldn't. He was just trying to be there. Finally. One afternoon, about 6 months after Sarah died, Daniela invited him over to help clean out some boxes. Sarah's things, stuff that had been in storage. In one box, Danny found photographs. Him and Sarah at prom. At the beach. Sitting on the hood of his old Chevy, laughing at something long forgotten. She kept all of these, Daniela said softly, looking over his shoulder. She kept us. Daniela sat down beside him, picked up a photo of teenage Sarah. She really did love you, didn't she? Yeah. And I really loved her. Do you think? Daniela hesitated. Do you think things would have been different if she'd told you about me? Honestly? I don't know. We were just kids. Maybe we would have made it work. Maybe we would have crashed and burned and made each other miserable. There's no way to know. But you wish you'd had the chance. Every damn day. They sat in silence for a while, looking through the photos, piecing together a past they'd both lost. I'm glad you're here now, Daniela said finally. I'm still angry sometimes. Still sad about everything we missed. But I'm glad you're here. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. That night, Danny sat in his apartment, looking at a photo he'd taken from the box. Him and Sarah at 18, arms around each other, smiling like they had the whole world figured out. They'd been so young. So sure of themselves. So wrong about everything. But maybe Sarah had been right about one thing: love isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, even when it's late. Even when you've missed most of the story. Even when all you have left is a chance to write a different ending. Danny had 43 years with Sarah that he'd never get back. But he had today with Daniela. Tomorrow with Tyler and Emma. A future he thought he'd lost forever. It wasn't what he'd imagined. It wasn't what any of them had imagined. But it was something. And something, after all those years of nothing, felt like a miracle. Danny set the photo on his nightstand, next to one Daniela had given him of her, Mark, and the kids. Two families, two different times, connected by a love that had survived 4 decades of silence. I'm here now, Sarah, he whispered. I'm finally here. And somewhere, he hoped, she knew.